Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachak Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And back with some more headlines on here. This one is kind of funny, actually. So, as you can see, this is from ZeroHedge.com, and it reads, the headline reads, Hormuz deal shock. Iranian state media says U.S.-Israeli vessels banned, causing oil to surge, of course. So it says Iran parliament reviews draft Hormuz plan banning U.S. and Israel-linked vessels. Oil rises as proposed Strait restrictions raise supply concerns. And if this is truly the case, right, it's a bit funny because the U.S. has been, they're talking about, a deal will be reached in the next day or two. And, they're saying all of these things. Come to find out, if this is indeed the deal, this is once again, as it says, it's banning U.S. and Israel-linked vessels, right? Basically giving, it's a deal that still shows and gives Iran power and control over the strait, right, as to who they would allow to be able to pass through and not, or not. Okay, it says Houthis intensify attacks on Saudi oil shipping in the Red Sea. Yemen fighting escalates amid reports of major casualties. Iran-Oman talks continue as U.S. backs diplomatic solution, searches for off-ramp. And this goes to show you who's really on the side of desperation, because if you go from continually bombing them, and now all of a sudden you're in quote unquote in favor of a diplomatic solution, something is going on somewhere, all right, and it's not in your favor. That's why they're so quick. They broke the deal, and so we're gonna make them pay. I'm gonna make you pay, and then you so-called make them pay, but now all of a sudden you're like so desperate for a diplomatic solution. That's interesting. And most times it comes from the West that you hear them say that, right? Like, we decided not to do this because we decided to pursue the path of peace. And first off, the path of peace. Keep in mind that these are the same people that actually go and start wars in other countries, right? Like, keep that in mind. They go and start wars, and all of a sudden they're so gung-ho for peace that they're like, yeah, we're willing to stop whatever attacks because, we can do it whenever we want, but we're willing to stop it in the name of peace. Hell no. It's a good part of it is bluff that is being called. And now they're like, shit, So in being in haste to make a deal, it's very interesting. Should this once again be the case, and should this be what they end up so-called finalizing, that indeed, okay, they might open the strait, but it'll be partially, and this is basically giving Iran control over it. It says Iranian state media, Fars has, and then I wouldn't be surprised if they went through with this, and then Trump turns around and says, the strait is open. The strait is open. Yeah, it is, but partially. And then two days later, turn around and say, they're violating it because they shot at a Israeli linked tanker, or U.S. linked oil tanker. They violated the deal. Now we got to go and bomb them again, bruh. Anyway, it says Iranian state media Fars has issued details of the Iran-Omani draft plan for transit rules through the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf. The country's parliament is said to currently be reviewing it. What's also interesting is what happened to the whole U.S. blockade. That was supposed to be the silver bullet. Surely that was supposed to, just completely just end things. Give the U.S. total control over the region. Now you have to make a deal. What's going on for a nation that's been so-called blown off the map? According to Trump, they've been sent so far back that their means of communication is via message messages through little kids. Yeah, they gotta give them a paper note and have the little kid bring these messages. That's what he said on live TV as to how bad their communication is. And he didn't say it as a synonym or a metaphor, a simile or a metaphor. He's saying that this is basically what it is. Like, man, this is interesting. Anyway, the country's parliament is set to currently be reviewing it, while Tehran still insists that the U.S. has been sidelined, saying that the Oman-Iran contracts or contacts are bilateral. As cited in Bloomberg from state media, key proposals include ban vessels linked to the U.S., Israel, and other hostile states, block military and civilian cargo tied to Israel, restrict ships linked to actions against the Axis of Resistance, deny passage to parties owing compensation to Iran, impose fines of up to 20% of cargo value for violations. That's, once again, giving them control over the strait. The first note about banning U.S.-linked vessels could alone serve to restart the war. The White House has appeared to genuinely be searching for an exit strategy. Yeah, see, now it's obvious. People can see it. They're desperate because their time is running out. What's today? August 6th? So in about, a week and a half, give or take, they're finna be cooked if they don't come to something. But this may be too hard a pill to swallow if accurate. Right, see? So if this is truly the route they're going with, as bad as the U.S. is trying to get this strait open back up again, that's something that's going to be real interesting to see how they try to maneuver around that. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Fars has spelled out that the passage of vessels belonging to the U.S. and Israelis and other hostile countries through the Strait of Hormuz will be prohibited. Below are the fuller outline of the proposed plan as featured by Fars. This is a machine translation. Okay. I think this is what we read up above, but a bit more detailed. The passage of vessels belonging to the United States, Israelis, and other hostile countries through the Strait of Hormuz will be prohibited. Ships related to Israel, whether military or civilian, will not have the right to transit through this area. Vessels or cargoes, and you think Israel is just going to sit there and be like, oh, yeah, we're on board with that. Vessels or cargoes that play a role in actions against the resistance front will also be subject to the ban. Countries and individuals that have caused damage to Iran will not receive permission to pass through the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf until compensation is paid. Heavy fines, including up to 20% of the value of the goods, will be imposed on violators. The cargo is anticipated. Yeah, we don't need that. It says the government will be required, in cooperation with armed forces, to assume responsibilities such as guiding navigation, monitoring vessel traffic, and protecting the security and environment of the Persian Gulf. This plan is still in the expert review stage, and the parliament has asked experts to submit their suggestions for completing it. So, of course, as it says, oil spikes on the headlines of a very clearly Iran-favorable deal. And now you got to ask yourself, right? It says, which Washington is unlikely to simply accept. You got to ask yourself, right? How and why are they able to draft up such an Iran, a major, right, deal that's in favor almost 100% of Iran, and just put it out there? Because they know that the U.S. is desperate. So now it's about, well, how desperate are you? Because we could keep this game going another 2 to 3 weeks, and then let's see if you're in a position to want to talk then, or you could accept this and then let's call it a day. See, so there's some leverage somewhere that they know, and it involves the fact that the strategic oil reserves are running low, very low. Okay, and they're capitalizing off of that, and they're trying to use that to their advantage. Okay, so we got to watch and see, but you know, it's a very rapidly evolving matter, which is still going to end up in them going to war anyway. It's still going to end up in a nuclear war that's going to involve major world countries. That's just the facts. Okay, show me the Carfax. Next on here, I'm not even going to read through this. I'm just going to hit the headline and maybe a paragraph or two. But here you got Rat Face Fauci. Senate panel holds Fauci in contempt for refusing to answer questions. Go back 5 or 6 years and go and watch some of our videos if it's still up, because they took down damn near every video we put up on the subject and we had to use code names all the time. But we let you know from the beginning, this guy can't be trusted. This guy is going to come out and say all this, that, and the third. The shit don't make sense. But people went and did it anyway. And now they're turning around. Now people are upset talking about, oh, I went and got two, three of them bad boys with a booster on top. Friggin' 2-3 boosters and shit. And they'd write you a card and they tell you, yeah, you gotta show your card has not just the first or the second, but you gotta have the booster and the second booster on top of that. The booster for the booster. Damn. Fuck. You know what I'm saying? But like, this is this is what this guy was pushing. You know, all this madness talking about herd immunity and you know, this, that, and the third. But hey. So this place got to go. All right, this place got to go. You got people like this out here, and now that the damage is done, right? Now that the damage is done, now they wanna come out here and now put him on the hot seat. He's cooked anyway, and all these people. Look, you gotta, if you went and took it, you better start praying heavily and asking yourself, if it wasn't such a bad thing, why is he having such trouble answering questions about it? What's going on, buddy? Anthony Fauci has been held in contempt of Congress by the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee after he repeatedly refused to answer lawmakers' questions about funding risky research to genetically manipulate bat corona V in Wuhan, China, and his role in the ensuing lockdown quagmire that cratered the economy after he was put in charge of leading the COVID-19 response. Yeah. Oh, and they obtained a copy of his cell phone. Damn, bruh. Yeah, no wonder all he could say was, as per what he was advised, he's not gonna. Yeah, listen, bro, you're done. But the thing about it is, he's a pawn in this whole scheme, you know, and literally that's the reason they use pawns, because when shit like this happens, he's the fall guy. People look at him. People call his name. People get mad at him. Oh, Fauci this, Fauci. He didn't get up of his own accord to do. He had, look. You don't just get to be put in charge of these things and go and say all these things if you're just running by yourself, a lone wolf. He wasn't a lone wolf. Okay, he was just one of many pawns. If you anybody who's played chess, you'll see that. Yes, there are 2 bishops, 2 rooks, and 2 knights, right? But when you look at the pawns, there's a whole bunch of them. Why? Because they're expendable. So if somebody captures one of your pawn pieces, you're not fretting, you're not losing your mind over it, because there's like damn near 12 or however many other pieces left. But if somebody captures the queen or one of your bishops or one of your rooks, you're upset. See? So this guy is a pawn. They don't care that the ones that set him up don't care that he's on the hot seat. They knew that he would end up there. And now he's burning on that seat. But guess what? Let them throw his ass in jail and see what happens. You know? He gonna meet some people in there and say, look, hey, myself and a couple of friends, you know, speaking from their perspective, went and took those things. So you better get to talking. Yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it on that. You know, I just wanted to cover some of these headlines real quick. There's a lot going on in the world, you know, but hey, the Lord did mention, right, that there would be all these things going on, right? The scriptures say that this gospel shall be preached. Matthew, was that 24:14? You know, let me see if I could take a look at that. Yeah, I just want to see if I could take a look at that. It's that Matthew 24 and 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. See? So now we're seeing all these things All these things we were talking about before are happening now because the gospel has been preached. And this is culminating the end of this age, the end of this empire, and the end of the arrogancy and pride and wickedness of these people. That's it. So with that, Lord willing, that was edifying and informative to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Recha Kodesh. Until next time.